जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा सुदर्शन चक्र जीव की जय। जय श्री गिरिराज गोवर्धन की जय। जय श्री निताई गौरांग की जय। जय श्री नृसिंह भगवान की जय। जय श्री ब्रज मंडल परिक्रमा की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गुरुदेव की जय। श्री गुरुतानुग गुरुवर्ग की जय। सचिनंदन गौर हरि की जय। श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय। श्री पंच तत्व की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंद हरि हरि बोल। वंदेहम श्री गुरु श्रीयुतः पदकमलम श्री गुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्री रूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवम् श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं भङ्गं लङ्घयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरून् विनुतारणम्। वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां भवनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदनाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरचिषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। अंगश्यामलिमचटाभिरभितो मन्दीकृतं देवरं जाड्यं जागुदरोचिसं विदधतं पट्टम्बरस्य श्रिया। वृन्दारण्यं निवासनं हृदिलसाद् दामाभिरामोदरं राधास्कन्दनिवेशितोज्ज्वलभुजं ध्यायेन् दामोदरम्। भक्त्या विहीन अपराधलक्षै क्षिप्तश्च कामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वं शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नुमस्ते चरणारविन्दम्। वृन्दाय तुलसीदेवाय प्रियाय केशवस्य च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदे देवी सत्यवचाय नमो नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat pranams, my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most merciful, worshipable, beloved Gurudev, Nitya Lila Pravishta, Om Vishnupad Paramahansa, Astatarasata Sri Srila, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then my same unlimited Dandavat pranams and Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable, beloved Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. My Dandavat pranams to all of my Sri Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga, and my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So yesterday, in our parikrama of Sri Mathura Dham, the last place that we covered was, I went far ahead, that's right. Let me find where we were.
Mathura Devi.
Bhuteshwara Jnana Papi, Mahavidya Devi, Ambika Devi, Rajaka Bundatila, the place for doing the washermen, Gokarna Mahadev, Ambarish Tila. We had a long description of Ambarish Tila, Kanks Kila, and other nearby places of Darshan. Yes, that's where we finished off. Okay. So Kanks Kila and other nearby places of Darshan. So after Saraswati Patana Tirtha, also called Krishna Ganga Ghat, and Soma Tirtha, also called Gao Ghat, one comes to Kanks Kila, which is the fort of Kamsa. Ganta, Karna, and Mukti Tirtha. One comes to Kanks Kila, the fort of Kamsa, then Ganta, Karna, and Mukti Tirtha. Kanks Kila was the residence or palace of Kamsa. The ruins that lie here today bear testimony to this. And between Kanks Kila and Vasudev Ghat, near Swami Ghat, are Brahma Ghat, Vaikuntha Ghat, and Dara Patana. Then after Asikunda, Askunda Ghat, and Manikarnika Ghat is Vishram Ghat, which completes the 10-mile parikrama of Mathura. So you start at Vishram Ghat, you end at Vishram Ghat. Now, these are nearby places of darshan. Gatashgrama Narayan Temple, and other places of pilgrimage nearby. On Mathura's inner parikrama path, there's an outer path and an inner path. So on Mathura's inner parikrama path, south of Vishram Ghat, is the temple of Gatashgrama Narayana. Close to the present day Sati Burja. In a lane to the right stands the temple of Charchika Devi. And near the temple of Rangeshwar Mahadev, on the eastern side, lies Sapta Samudri Kupa. This means the well of 7 oceans. Sapta Samudri Kupa. Then, under the railway line leading to the main railway station in Mathura is Shiv Tala. The road to Madhuvan also begins from here. Haribol?
I'm trying to set up the one in the teaching mode.
Yeah.
Something.
Okay. So, the road to Mathura also begins from here. Now comes the temple of Dirga Vishnu. This place I remember. Mm-hmm. You know what Dirga means? Very tall. Mm. This is very interesting pastime took place here. The temple of Dirga Vishnu lies close to Bharatpur Gate. When Krishna, Baladev, and their cowherd friends were proceeding to Kamsa's wrestling arena, then Sri Dhamma and the other Sakas, they asked Krishna, "Oh friend, are you going to the wrestling arena? Your body is small and tender. How will you kill the mighty Kamsa?" Sri Krishna then displayed his huge Dirga form, carrying a conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower. Thus, the Sakas, they were convinced that their Kanaya could do anything by the mercy of Lord Narayan, and that Narayan sometimes manifested through him. Happily, they danced towards the wrestling arena with Sri Krishna. That's a very sweet pastime. I remember I don't remember that many places on the insides of the temples, but I remember that particular place. Now we come to Mathura Devi. Close to Dirga Vishnu towards the east, and inside a lane is the temple of Mathura Devi, the presiding deity of Mathura. As a Saki, Mathura Devi has a very loving relationship with Sri Yamuna, and together they serve their Lord Sri Krishna. Now comes Sri Padmanabha. Heading east down the same lane, one comes to the temple of Bhagavan Sri Padmanabha in Chaubeya Para. The grandfather of mankind, Lord Brahma, took birth on the lotus flower that manifests from the lotus stem growing out of Garbho Dakashai Bhagavan, Padmanabha's navel. Only by Sri Padmanabha's mercy does Vairaja Brahma create the material universe. So he's called Vairaja Brahma. There's a footnote, but I looked at it the other day. And Vairaja means when Brahma is a jiva soul. Because sometimes Krishna takes the position of Brahma. And there's not the exactly qualified, personality to execute the activities of Brahma. Sometimes Krishna has to take that post. But this one is called Vairaj Brahma, which means that he's a jiva. Now there are 2 temples of Varahadev. Have you seen those 2 temples? Yes. What are the colors of the Varaha? Yeah. Okay, good. Behind the present Dwarkadish temple.
There's not a red one?
I thought there was a red one too. Is that Navadri?
I don't know, let's read it and see.
Like the color of Gopinath Bhavan.
He's going to describe these. Now, behind the Dwarkadish temple, which will be the next item, in Manika Choka, there are two temples of Lord Varaha. One of them has a black deity of Varaha, Krishna Varaha or Adi Varaha. The other has a white deity of Varaha called Shveta Varaha. Now, during the period of Swayambhuva Manu in Brahmakalpa, Krishna Varaha manifested from the nostril of Brahma in a four-legged boar form. He kept the earth on his tusk, and he brought her up from Rasatala, the nether region. And during the reign of Chakshusha Manu, Shveta Varaha manifested from the ocean. His face was like that of a boar, and the lower portion of his body was human-like. He is also called Nri Varaha, Nri meaning human. But he killed Hiranyaksha, and he delivered the earth. So that's the first deity, the black one, who's called Krishna Varaha or Adi Varaha. Yes.
Lower portion? So he had hands?
Apparently, yeah, because he said his face was like that of a boar, but the lower portion of his body was human-like. He's the one that killed Hiranyaksha and delivered the earth. And he also kept the earth on his tusk and brought her up. And came from the nostril of Brahma. Then when he came from the nostril, a tiny little boar, he began to grow in size. Very, very big. Now, at the beginning of Satya Yuga, there was a Brahmin sage named Kapila, who was a worshipper of Bhagavan Adi Varaha. Now, Indra, the king of the demigods, pleased that Brahmana, and then brought the deity of Varaha to the heavenly planets, where he installed him for worship. This is the interesting story now that we were trying to remember the other day about Ravana and how Shatrughna got this Varaha deity and came to kill the demon, what was his name, Lavanasura. And he brought this deity with him. So here's the history of that deity. So at the beginning of Satya Yuga, there was a Brahmin sage named Kapila who was a worshipper of Bhagavan Adi Varaha. Indra, the king of the demigods, pleased that Brahmana and then brought the deity of Varaha to the heavenly planets, where he installed him for worship. And having defeated Indra, the mighty Ravana seized that Varaha deity from Svarga and established him in Lanka. And after killing the impersonalist Ravana, Sri Ramachandra brought that same deity to Ayodhya and installed Varaha Dev in the palace. When Maharaj Shatrughna was leaving Ayodhya to kill Lavanasura, he asked his elder brother Sri Ramchandra for the deity. Maharaj Shatrughna carried the deity with him, and after killing Lavanasura, established him in the city of Mathura, where one can take darshan of him even today. In the side of a tiny little lane is this Varaha deity. My mind was blown when I first came there and read what we just read from the Purikam book. Whoa. Satya Yuga, Brahmin sage, goes to Indra, heavenly planets, then Ravana steals him, brings him to Lanka, Ravan gets killed by Ram, Ram brings the deity to Ayodhya, installs him, Maharaj Shatrughna brings him to Mathura to help in his campaign to kill the demons, and he establishes him in the city of Mathura. So, that's a long time ago. That's a long time ago. Anyway, whether or not that deity is the very same original deity, we can't really know that, can we? No, we can't. But, at any rate,
You can't know any of this stuff.
we can't. But, like, for example, the Daoji deity in the town of Daoji, he looks like he's 5,000 years old, okay? And that's 5,000 years. And these Varaha deities don't look that old. That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, but at any rate, we're remembering those deities and they're somehow they're Pratibhu expansions. But who knows? I don't know. Maybe they're the originals. There's no way of knowing because we're dealing with inconceivable reality. And if those deities want to look just like they were carved recently, they can do that, can they not? Yes. Now the temple of Dwarkadish, Gurudev also tells in the course of this narration here about how he came there with 1,000 devotees to that very temple. And he talked with the deity from the outside. I'll read that. Now, among the new temples of Mathura, the Dwarkadish temple is prominent. It was established about 150 years ago by a devotee in the line of Sri Vallabha Acharya. This temple is close to Vishram Ghat and Gatashram Tila. The temples of Krishna Varaha and Shveta Varaha are also nearby. Yeah, so I remember that. Walking. We went separately from the big parikrama once. Rickshaw with just like 3-4 devotees. And we were using the parikrama book and also asking people. And I remember all of those places are within near distance. Okay. So, Dwarkadish is the king of Dwarka. And thus, Krishna is here with his queens, Rukmini and Satyabhama. And he is without his peacock feather and flute. Generally, at the beginning of the rainy season, during the month of Shravan, a very elaborate swing festival takes place here. Hundreds and thousands of devotees, both inhabitants of Mathura and devotees from very far away, they assemble here to attend the festival. The wealthy Dwarkadish swings on a golden swing bedecked with jewels. Once, the author went with 1,000 devotees to the Dwarkadish temple. When he arrived, the temple door was closed. So he sent a message to ask Dwarkadish, "Why are you hiding? Where is your flute, peacock feather, and dress of Vrindavan? Have you changed your father and mother? Do you have any new beautiful beloveds from Dwarka or Mathura? Why are you not coming forward?" And hearing this, Dwarkadish began to cry bitterly, remembering the pastimes of Vrindavan. The author and his party told him that Srimati Ji had sent them to see how he was. She is lamenting for you, they said. Dwarkadish then promised that he would return to Vrindavan in a day or two. The devotees then returned to their hut. A sweet story, huh? Yeah. That's the end of this chapter. There's one last thing, that the Puranas and the other sacred texts, they mention many more places of darshan other than the ones listed above. However, most of these places have now disappeared. And this is at the bottom of this this article, the page. Then all these footnotes. There's, let's see, about, wow, yeah, 47 footnotes And many, many verses quoted all the way down. Yes, verses from, a lot of them from Adi Varaha Purana, lots of them from the Adi Varaha Purana, Sora Purana, Vishvayu Purana, Padma Purana, Skanda Purana, Gopal Tapani Upanishad. But most are from the Adi Varaha Purana. Okay, now we're going to the next section of the Braj Mandala Parikrama. So after Mathura, then which place? And remember, this is the order in which Mahaprabhu did his parikrama. From Mathura, he went to, give you a hint, also starts with M. No?
Madhuvan.
Madhuvan. Yes. Now, Madhuvan lies southwest of Sri Mathura, about 2.5 miles from Bhuteshwar Mahadev. Only 2.5 miles from Bhuteshwar Mahadev. It is one of Vraja's 12 famous forests. In the Satya Yuga, Bhagavan killed a demon named Madhu here, for which he became known as Madhusudan. And likewise, this forest became known as Madhuvan, because it is as endearing and sweet as the Supreme Lord Sri Madhusudan himself. So, Madhu, Mathura, Madhuvan, Madhusudan. Another name of Madhusudan is Madhava. Madhava. Because he is the beloved, the Dhava of Srimati Radhika, who is the foremost among all Lakshmis. This Sri Madhava is the presiding deity of this forest. The presiding deity of Madhuvan is Madhava. You know, you ever heard this breakdown of the word Madhava as Madhava? You've never heard that? I have. So Ma means what? Mother. Lakshmi means Lakshmi. She's called Ma Lakshmi, right? But actually, who is that? Srimati Radhika. She's the foremost of all Lakshmis. And her beloved, the word Dhava means beloved. So Madhava means the beloved of Lakshmi. Yes. Husband of the goddess of fortune. This is the way Prabhupada told it. The husband of the goddess of fortune. Yes. While taking bath here or performing Achman, one should chant the following mantra. Om Hram Hrim Madhuvana Adipataye Madhavaya Namaha. Om Hram Hrim Madhuvana Adipataye Madhavaya Namaha. Swaha. So while taking Achman, chanting this mantra renders one's parikrama of this forest successful. The present name of Madhuvan is Maholi Gram. Maholi Gram. On the eastern side of the village of Maholi is Dhruva Tila, where the deities of the child Dhruva and his worshipful four-armed Sri Narayan splendidly reside. Do you remember that on a hill? They actually built quite a newer temple. Which was the year that you went?
Last?
Yeah, like the year that you went on the parikrama, or which was your final year?
I think 2010.
Okay, you went on the parikrama that year.
But not for the whole thing.
But not for the whole thing.
We were already in Govardhan when I came. So like 2007
Oh, so you came after that part of the parikrama. So 2007 you went. At that time there was already on the hill a very new kind of temple built on that hill. You know, we had to walk upstairs to go to it. And that's the very place. That's called Dhruva Tila. It's the place where Dhruva did his austerities and had the darshan of Lord Narayan there. And on the altar there they have those deities. A very new temple. So Dhruva performed severe austerities here to attract the Supreme Lord using the mantra Devarshi Narada had given him. And being pleased with his worship, the Lord appeared before Dhruva and awarded him absolute monarchy over the entire earth for 36,000 years, followed by rulership of Dhruvaloka, an imperishable abode of Sri Hari within this material universe. So that's pretty, very all-encompassing benediction. And we just happen to know that. We know that the pole star, which is scientists, they identify as, it's actually Dhruvaloka. It's Dhruvaloka. Not only that, but also the planets are tied to Dhruvaloka. There's a kind of subtle force by which Dhruvaloka, the planets kind of turn around Dhruvaloka. And what is that Dhruvaloka? It says here, it is an imperishable abode of Sri Hari within this material universe. So, also the very fact that we know the exact place where Dhruva Maharaj did his austerities and Lord Narayan revealed to him. I never knew that before. I went on the Braj we knew the story of Dhruva Maharaj from Srimad Bhagavatam, but we didn't know where it took place. So that's the amazing thing about the Braj Mandala Parikrama, is that all of these holy places have been revealed over centuries and even yugas. And they've been revealed in the Puranas and various other Vedic literatures. So one thing about that pastime, the way that Gurudev highlighted that pastime, you know that Dhruva Maharaj, we know the story. Why did Dhruva Maharaj make this vow to go to the forest? What happened?
Insulted by his mother-in-law.
He was
His stepmother.
Yeah, what did she say?
You can't sit
Not
on
mother-in-law,
stepmother.
stepmother, yeah.
You can't sit on your father's lap
Mm-hmm.
on the throne because you're lower.
You're not from my womb, she said. You don't have the right to sit on his lap. Although her co-wife, her name, that queen was named Suruchi. What does Suruchi mean? Very interested in material enjoyment. Ruchi, meaning material taste. But the mother of Dhruva Maharaj, who was the co-wife, and she knew, she was aware that she was not as dear to her husband. What was the husband's name again? The king. Uttanapad, right. And she understood that she was not as dear. So when Dhruva was insulted in that way, he ran to his mother, Suniti, who was in another part of the palace. And I began crying and telling what had happened. And then Suniti, now what is the meaning of the name Suniti? What is niti? Means religious principles. She was very spiritually advanced. Suniti was. And so Dhruva was expressing his absolute anger that this other stepmother had told him that you will have to take birth from my womb, then you can sit on your father's lap. So when Dhruva Maharaj expressed this to his mother, then his mother said, yes, it is true that that the king, he has much more affection for her. And then Dhruva, that's when he became absolutely determined, and he said, well then, I'm going to become more powerful and have a greater kingdom than my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather. So who are those personalities? Swayambhuva Manu, and Lord Brahma. So he became very determined. Now, it's interesting to note that because he's from the Kshatriya bloodline, very, very pure and very high, he has these particular qualities of a Kshatriya. And what it is for a Kshatriya, an insult is very intolerable. And they'll fight to the death because of that.
It was still his father to blame more than the stepmother. I mean, he's the boss.
Well, he didn't do anything at that moment, right? But in the end, of course, at the end, they all surrendered to Dhruva and, had so much love and affection for him. But at that time, Dhruva made that vow. And then his mother told to him, the only person that can help you to fulfill this vow is Bhagavan Lord Narayan himself. And many, many great sages, they go to the forest to find him, to meet him. So that is what you should do. And then Dhruva immediately left the palace. Here he is, 5-year-old boy with absolute determination. And he's treading the pathway from there into the dense forest, right? So who veers along that pathway, along the way in front of Dhruva? Sri Narada Rishi, so effulgent. And he's looking at Dhruva, knowing he knows who he is. He's the son of the king, like this. And he asked him the question, where are you going? I'm going to the forest. What are you going to do in the forest? There, I'm going to search for Bhagavan, Sri Narayan. Why are you going to do that? Because I want to gain a kingdom greater than my father, my grandfather. Oh, so you want to meet Lord Narayan? Yes. And then at that time, Narada Muni was thinking to himself, just see the qualities of the Kshatriyas. Even a small boy, but he cannot tolerate being offended, being insulted, So then he said to Dhruva, I will help you. I will help you. You can take this mantra from me. I am going to give you this mantra, and by chanting this mantra, you will achieve your goal. You will directly meet Lord Narayan at the end of 6 months. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhar Shri Shri Radha Govinda Jiu Ki Jai. So, Dhruva went into the forest, and Srimad Bhagavatam narrates how he began to follow the Ashtanga Yoga system, and next to the bank of a river, simply wearing a loincloth and performing an asana, standing on one leg, and barely eating. In the beginning, just eating whatever fruits were there. And then after that, he switched to eating only leaves. Then after that,
water.
Only drinking water. And then even but also gradually less water, more days without water, like that. And this was each month he was changing. And then finally, by the 6th month, then he began taking a breath only after so many minutes and so forth. And then the 6-month period came, and as he was doing his intensive austerities, by the way, he was chanting this mantra from Narada Muni continually for 6 months. Constantly chanting. You know what mantra. Om Namo. Yes, that's right. And so, that day, suddenly, Lord Narayan himself appeared in front of Dhruva. And when he saw Lord Narayan, he immediately, his whole absorption and everything broke, and he fell down on the ground and then sat up, folding his palms and looking at Lord Narayan's beautiful form, and he was completely stunned in ecstasy, and he could barely speak. And being a small child also, and he wanted so much to express his mood. And then Lord Narayan took his conch and touched Dhruva on the head, and then he immediately began to pray so many prayers. And the thing is that Dhruva, he was so overwhelmed with ecstasy upon having the darshan of Lord Narayan, and actually his whole desire to have this material benediction was completely cleansed from his heart. You know that Dhruva is called a Sakam Bhakta. And what does Sakam mean? It means with desire, calm. So a Bhakta who's performing his limbs of bhakti and so forth, but he is holding on to fulfillment of his own desires. So that's called Sakam Bhakta. So Dhruva represents that in the beginning stages of that. But now that he saw Lord Narayan, he began to offer different prayers to him after being touched with the conch. And Lord Narayan also told him, now I want to give you a benediction. And because he had done that, all of that, and Lord Narayan wanted to reward him. But then Dhruva said, oh my Lord, I was looking for broken pieces of glass, but now I found a valuable jewel that is your lordship. So now I'm completely satisfied. Svamin kritartosmi varam najaje. I am completely satisfied just by seeing you, and I don't want anything. Now, but Lord Narayan, because he had come with this desire to fulfill, Lord Narayan said, no, I want that you will accept this benediction. First of all, you will have lordship, monarchy over the entire earth for 36,000 years. And then you will live in this planet called Dhruvalok. It will be named after you. And it is an eternal abode, imperishable abode of Sri Hari within this material universe. So in Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of while Dhruva was ruling the earth, and there was a very great battle with the Yakshas and so forth. So Dhruva Maharaj became completely purified, but he's not in the category of the 5 bhaktas. He's below that, according to Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, in Treta Yuga, the sages and the other residents of Madhuvan, they were terrified by the atrocities committed by the Madhu demon, who, after performing severe austerities, had obtained a trident from Shankarji. And as long as that trident remained in Madhu's hands, no demigod, demon, or human being could defeat him. Although Madhu was a prince in the dynasty of the sun god, the Surya Vamsha, he became cruel and devoid of good conduct due to bad association. His father rejected him and banished him from the kingdom. Madhu lived in Madhuvan, where he established a new kingdom in which he harassed the citizens. Mandata, the highly illustrious king of the Sun dynasty, wanted to punish Madhu, therefore he attacked him, but he was slain by Madhu's trident. Now, before his death, Madhu Daitya gave that trident to his son, Lavan Asur. He told him that as long as this infallible trident remained in his hands, no one would be able to kill him. Rather, it would kill all his enemies. Trident in hand, Lavanasura's tyranny was even more cruel than his father's. The great sages of Madhuvan and the surrounding areas, distressed by his atrocities, went to Sri Ram in Ayodhya, and they humbly prayed for protection. They informed Sri Ram of Lavanasura's might and of his infallible trident that rendered him invincible. They explained that killing him would not be possible as long as he had his trident in hand. So in Ayodhya, the Supreme Lord, Sri Ramachandra, coronated his younger brother, Shatrughna, as the king of Madhuvan. Shatrughna asked Lord Ramachandra for the powerful deity of Sri Varaha that Ramchandra had brought from Lanka, and his elder brother happily agreed. Shatrughna then went with the sages to the ashram of Valmiki Rishi, and after receiving his blessings, proceeded to Madhuvan. Bow and arrows in hand, Shatrughna arrived at the entrance of Lavanasura's cave, at a time when Lavanasura had gone hunting in the woods, and he had left his trident behind in the cave. So when the demon returned carrying dead elephants, deer, and other animals, carrying them, Shatrughna challenged him to battle, and a fierce fight ensued. In desperation, Lavanasura tried to get hold of his trident, but Sri Shatrughna, the highly valorous warrior and subduer of his enemies, was able to obstruct him, and with his sharp arrows, he succeeded in cutting off his head. Shatrughna then re-established the deserted Madhupuri, and he installed Lord Varahadev there. So this Adi Varahadev is still present at the very same location in the present-day Mathura, which lies within Madhuvan. So Lord Madhava's dear Madhukunda also lies in Madhuvan, and is now also called Krishna Kunda. Remember, we go there. We sit in this area, and then there's like a driveway that goes down into the Kunda. And there we take Achman, and then Gurudev would sit there and talk about the parikrama that we were going to take. We were going to go on this parikrama. Madhuvan, Talvan, Kumudvan, like that. So that Kunda is called Madhukunda and also Krishna Kunda. And nearby is the cave of Lavanasura. A deity of Sri Shatrughna resides in a temple near to Krishna Kunda. Now towards the end, so first of all, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, and now the end of Dwapara Yuga. So towards the end of Dwapara Yuga, Sri Krishna would take hundreds of thousands of cows out to graze, walking behind them and calling out their names, Dauli, Dumri, Kalindi. He would make sounds to instruct them, such as Hio, Hio, come, come, Diri, Diri, slowly, slowly, Tiri, Tiri, come to the river bank to drink. As he walked with Dao Baya, Baladev, Krishna played his sweet flute, and he laughed and joked, placing his hands on the shoulders of the sakhas. As the boys herded the cows, delightful uproars would break out amongst them. We see that every day with the kids here, don't we? Just all of a sudden, they all start screaming. This is the children's natures. So Krishna and the sakhas, they were always like that. Delightful uproars would break out amongst them. In this way, all of Madhuvan was showered with the sweet nectar, the madhu of praying, which Sri Krishna and Sri Balaram relished while grazing the cows. And while walking along like this, sometimes Krishna's thirsty eyes would look with sidelong glances at the gopis who were hiding within the kunjas, or on the balconies or the windows of their palaces. The beautiful young ladies of Braja worshipped Krishna with their loving sidelong glances as he returned from the forest. Krishna would show that he accepted their worship by the movement of his eyes. To the young ladies of Braja, even a second in separation from Krishna would feel like millions of millenniums, and a millennium in his company would seem like a fraction of a second. Krishna's cow-herding pastimes in Madhuvan are as sweet as honey, madhu, and they are beyond description. In Kali Yuga, about 550 years ago, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu visited Braj, and he came to Madhuvan, where a momentary vision, a spurti of Sri Krishna's pastimes, overwhelmed him with ecstasy. And each year, many groups of pilgrims stop here to rest. In Madhuvan, Dauji and the Sakhas would dance as they relished the sweet nectar of this forest. This is well known. Today, one can also take darshan of the black deity of Dauji here. There is a deep secret behind the black color of this deity. After leaving Vrindavan and Mathura, Sri Krishna and Baladev resided in Dwarka with their relatives. And when Baladev heard about the restlessness and the lamentation of all Braja in separation from Sri Krishna, he wanted to take Krishna back there. Yet, because this was somehow delayed, Baladev went there alone. He did his best to console everyone, but when he saw the extent of their state of separation from Krishna, he also felt intense separation from him. Meditating upon Shyam and his pastimes in Vraja, Baladev began to relish Shyam Rasa, or Madhur Rasa, and himself he took on a Shyam blackish blue complexion. This Shyam Rasa is the only honey that is truly sweet, and it is eternally relished by Baladev, who thus remains perpetually immersed in the ecstasy of Krishna praying. Gaur Premanande. Jai Shri Madhuvan ki jai, Shri Dauji Paya ki jai, Krishna Kanaya ki jai, Shatrugna ji ki jai, Dhruva Maharaj ki jai, Narada ji ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Shri Braj Mandala Parikrama ki jai, Parikrama Kari Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande. Jai Shri Gaur Arti ki jai, Radha Krishna Jival Arti ki jai. Hare
Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharika Krishna Radha Govinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai Jai Nitya Prabhu Sripadas Tathar Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Trivaka Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhavan Maharaj Ki Jai Satar Sata Srimad Bhakti Vidyan Bharti Maharaj Ki Jai Astotar Sata Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Pradhan Keshava Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shira Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Srila Bhakti Saranta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Paramahamsa Bhakti Chodas Babuji Maharaj Ki Jai Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Srila Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Jagannath Das Babuji Maharaj Ki Jai Gauri Vedanta Chaya Bhakti Vichibhushan Prabhu Ki Jai Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai Srila Narottam Srinivasamananda Prabhu Thai Ki Jai Srila Krishna Kaviraj Goswami Ki Jai Srila Sanatana Bhattaruganath Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath Sat Goswami Guru Ki Jai Sri Sukhamara Ramananda Di Gaur Parshavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Sukho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Venkatadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Shri Navadvitam Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Shri Yogapit Ekachakra Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopi Gopa Govardhan Vatsavana Shri Vrajmandala Ki Jai Shri Radha Kuna Shamakuna Hanga Jamuna Tosi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Shri Vrindadevi Maharani Ki Jai Shri Yogamai Purnamasi Devi Ki Jai Shri Lokeshwar Mahadevi Ki Jai Jai Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhaja Shri Rasham Chakra Ki Jai Kshetra Mandala Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Nrsimhadev Bhagwan Ki Jai Bhagavad Maharaj Ki Jai Haridam Jali Sampradaya Charishar Ki Jai Akramat Raj Shri Chaitanya Mat Ki Jai Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Hari Nama Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Ki Jai Bhakta Gaur Bhaktavin Ki Jai Sai Gaur Premanande Ki Namaste Narasimhaya Jai